Here he is. So congrats to the winners. Very interesting games actually. And yeah, I think we saw what we were expecting. Strong games. They were not as not exciting, but they were not as tactical as the ones from the prior rounds. Everyone was being careful. And yeah, one silly mistake, and we saw some sad, not sad, but some tragical and unexpected losses here just because of a silly move. Careful, careful, careful until one silly mistake. Welcome to the chess world.
Yeah, what to do? What to do,
Absolutely,
Robert?
absolutely.
So which game are we picking for our game
I
of the
think
round?
I
Do
think
you
we
wanna?
was it number 8? I think this is
It
the
was
one, right?
Jonathan. Is it this one?
Yeah, I think it's Jonathan versus Kylan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
So yeah, let's get started. So basically, this game was played in round 7, the final round of the K through 12 grade championships in Maryland. And this was, which board was it?
board 8, which is
Robert?
the fourth board of the K11, the 11th grade.
K11. Yeah, so fourth board in the K11. There are a few great games and of course some heartbreaking results that we had to look at and we commented on, but Robert and I decided this is our game of the round, so to speak, Jonathan against Kyle, and let's go through
Absolutely.
let's go through a few more moves, Robert.
And this one I pointed it out because it was the Cambridge Springs. And again, I don't see this often. I like this opening, always got my attention, but we don't see it that often. And then after a few moves, this is pretty straightforward. Rook c1, defending on c3, b takes c3, queen defends a2, rook b1. And we've talked about this. We get the isolated pawn, but we also get the semi-open file. So we're happy here as the white pieces. Castle, bishop d3, trying to do the same thing. Queen c2 with a tempo on the pawn. Bishop f4, b6, castle, and after bishop a6, now we saw pawn to c4. And
Yeah, and looking, yeah, sorry,
no, go ahead,
you go ahead.
go ahead, go ahead.
This is the kind of position that you want to get with white, like a small advantage position where you maintain the control in the center, you avoid trades because it's difficult for black to deal with the restricted space that they have, and slowly grind your opponent into a less and less space position.
Exactly.
The attack is not going to happen that fast, but yeah.
Not overnight, but definitely we take a small advantage and we convert and we convert and we convert. It's at bishop f8, e4, full control with the center, rook c8, rook e1. That's it. Simple chess, just improving our pieces, gaining more space. Queen a3, pawn to h4. Now, pawn to h4, where is this coming from? Maybe g4, g5, or maybe h5?
Yeah, I think g4, g5, freeing up the h2 square sometimes for knight h2, g4 as another means to bring the knight into the game. Of course,
Interesting.
knight e5 is a great approach to get to g4 if you want to, but
But you don't want to be traded.
you don't want to trade. Exactly.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
And that also h4, h5, another idea, because with the bishop in f8, black sometimes considers ideas with g6, bishop g7, but in this situation, those are not going to happen because of h5, and then, the b1, h7 diagonal will get opened.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is looking like it's ready for a kingside attack. Queen e7, e5. This pawn, we know how important it is. It keeps the knight from coming back and defending the king side. So clearly, white wants to attack the king side. Rook b8. In the meantime, there's nothing to do in the center for now, so black chooses to create something or try to create something on the other side. Queen e2. I'm guessing
the idea queen e4.
Yeah. C5.
No, knight f6. This is the move. This is the move we both love, I think. Just simply the idea of keeping that bishop in b7 totally restricted.
Yeah.
No trades, no exits. Don't give black the opportunity to go c5 after and go back on the long diagonal.
This looks obvious, but yeah, if we take, we can see how all of the black pieces all of a sudden define purpose. They could simplify, they could open up the rooks. By doing this, it's like, nope, you're not getting any counterplay, and I continue to focus on the king side. Yeah.
Yes, and the b4 is also not possible. Very important to note that bishop in a6 will remain restricted by its own pawn in b5. You have to figure out a way to
Unbelievable.
get it out. And you're basically, with the black pieces, you're playing without the bishop, and the other pieces are not doing that much, whereas white, due to the extra space, particularly because of the pawn in e5, not allowing a knight to go to f6, white has this queen e4 idea. In addition to that, this strange positioning of black's pieces with not having the opportunity to improve the position of the bishop in f8, that bishop is not able to move for the knight to go to f8. I guess you could consider the f8 square a superfluous square,
Yeah.
because you want to use your knight and you want to use your bishop to cover, g7, but you want to use the knight to cover h7, and that's why that's a superfluous square, because you can't use it for both. So black now is
Absolutely.
struggling with a defense.
And we see bishop b7 again, nothing to do with defending the king side. Now, something else to mention, even though I don't think this is what we're going for, but with so much control over d6, knight d2, knight d4 seems like another plan that we have in the air. So
That's true. If we're trying to play more of a positional way, yeah, knight d2, knight d4, knight d6.
exactly.
Just king h2, move your rooks, play f4, just start marching with your pawns on the king side. There's not really
Whenever
concrete
you're
plan for
ready.
black.
Exactly.
Exactly. And you can't even push the f pawn. You'd love to, but I think en passant is going to happen, and then e6 will fall, and the black's position is collapsing. I mean, maybe they should have played that, but it wouldn't lead to much. So
Exactly. Yeah, this is just very instructive now. Queen e3. The moment they push the g pawn, every time we move a pawn in chess, some squares become weaker, and that's the case for h6. So the pawn pushed. Well, let me go to e3. Rook d8. Thank you. And now we just continue to expose that king. Knight
exactly.
c5. This was a nice tactic, but we couldn't care
Nice try.
less.
Nice final try,
At
but
least it was it was a resource. Queen g5, because this is coming, and unfortunately, like you said earlier, they don't get enough material for it. Now,
yeah,
everyone knows this rook lift, rook rollover idea. They tried to stop it, but not everyone could find the second rook lift. And then one of the rooks is gonna go to h3. Again, more tactical ideas such as c5, hoping we can do a checkmate on h1, but the king could always go to g3. So
exactly. So white wasn't worried. A couple
that's
more
it.
checks, and
There you go.
the game was over.